All right, so what we want to do now is we want to make our workbook look prettier than it currently does. And everything that we are going to be doing is actually on pages 90 and 91 in the book. And I don't really know why they are having you go through every page and making everything different. I think that the easiest way to do it is to actually just do it on pages 90 and pages 91. So we are literally going to be doing everything from 90 through like 110 all at once because it's easier to do it in this way. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to change our workbook theme. So again, to change your theme, it is in page layout, and we're going to go under themes, and the theme that we are going to be using is the theme called Basis. So that's the first thing that we're going to do. Basis, B-A-S-I-S. This theme right here. Are you sure? If you don't, then I'm pretty sure I put it in. If it's not there, then it should be in the assignments. And then it's right here. If for some reason if your version of Office doesn't have the Basis theme, you can use the Basis theme from the that I've downloaded, or that I've uploaded in the assignment. But it should be on page layout themes and then Basis.
Question.
Yeah.
How do we do that? Do we open that link and then work in that? Or
what do you mean?
How do we use that theme?
You go to theme, browse for themes, and then go to where you downloaded it, and then you can use it. All right, so the first thing that we want to do is in the worksheet title and subtitle, we want to change the alignment so that it is centered across columns A through J. So we want to go on A through J, and we want to merge and center. And then we want to go on for the cell title, and we want to change the cell title of the cell style to the title for the hypermass online storage. And then they want us to change the font size to 18. And then salary report, they want this to also be merged and centered. And they want this to be size 16. And the cell style also of title, but size 16. So they want the salary report to also be size, and then they want A and J, A1 through J2. They want it to be the background color. So they want us to go in and change our background color. So we click on to the little pink bucket guy, and they want it to be green, accent 1, lighter of 60%. So green, lighter of 60%, I think is, let's see, 40, is this one it? 60. Yep. And then they want us to put in a thick box border. Yes. And they are both green, accent 1, lighter 60%. And then they want us to change in step 3, it's column titles. So the column titles, that's these guys. They want that to be in heading 3. So cell styles of heading 3. And centered. Cell style of heading 3, alignment of center. And then column J, they want column J to be in the month, month, day, day, year, year format. So to do that, we're going to go in to the short date, and then we're going to go into more number formats. And in more number formats, we're going to go into date. And the 03/14/12 date. It's right here. And then date. And then 3/14/12.
So when you selected this column,
Mm-hmm.
you selected the entire row.
The entire
To
column.
the end of the document.
The entire column. Yep.
And that's the my question, because last time when I selected the entire row, that means to X, Y, Z, whatever.
That is correct.
But we should just, because when it came to deleting, I had to delete.
Yeah, but this will be, it'll be okay for this to be the entire thing.
Print, otherwise it's gonna print. No, it will stop where.
It'll stop.
Here it is, that thing.
Yeah. So the easiest way to select the entire format, and if you remember nothing else about Excel, this is the thing to remember, is that anytime that you want to modify the format of any cell, the keyboard shortcut is on a Windows machine, it's Control-1, and on a Mac, it's Command-1. So if you remember nothing else, it's either Control-1 if you're on a PC or Command-1 if you're on a Mac. So if I select column J and I do Control-1, it brings up format cells. When I'm in format cells, in this case, I want to do date. So I click on a date. And then I want the 3/14/12 method. In B4 to B16, they want this to be centered. In column C, they want this to be in the comma style. So I'll click on a comma style. And then in D4 to G4, they want these to be in the accounting format. So to do the accounting format, it is the $sign. And then I4, they also want to be in the accounting. And then all of the numbers under the dollar sign, they want to be in the comma style.
Is this because we chose certain style, the numbers are?
Mm-hmm. So basically what they want is they want the first number to be in the accounting style, and then the numbers below that, they want it to be in the comma style. So we want in column I, we want this to be in the accounting, and then all of the numbers below that, we want it to be in the comma. And that's because the comma style is the accounting style without the dollar sign. So that we only have $1 sign at the top, and we don't have to repeat the dollar sign, dollar sign, dollar sign, dollar sign, because that looks kind of silly. But the comma style and the accounting style are the same style. Yes. Right, because we want the row 4 to be in the columns, I mean in the accounting, but then rows 5 to 16, we want to be in the comma style so that the dollar sign doesn't keep repeating itself. No, it's for all of them. So for D, E, F, G, and I, they're all the same. All of the dollars should be dollars in row 4, and in rows 5 to the end, they should be commas. Because the comma style is the accounting style without the dollar sign. So again, I don't want you to do this because I told you that it's column 4 or row 4. I want you to do it because you understand why you are doing it. So why are we making column row 4 have the accounting style as opposed to the comma style? Yeah, because we want the dollar sign to be in the first row. That's why row 4 has the accounting style. And then rows 5 to the end, we want it to be in the comma style because the comma style and the accounting style are the same without the dollar sign. Because otherwise it looks silly to say dollar sign, dollar sign, dollar sign, dollar sign, dollar sign, dollar sign, dollar sign. That's why we're doing the accounting style on the first line and then comma style for the rest. And the reason we're not doing the accounting style for column H is because column H isn't about dollars. Column H is about percentages. And the reason we're not doing it in column J is because that's about dates. But otherwise we would, but it's not. So we're not. All right, let's see here. So let's see here. With the speaking of column H, in column H, they want this to become percentages. So if we click onto the percent style, it'll make them percentages. But then they want it to have 2 decimal places. So we need to increase the decimal so that there are 2 decimal places. And then let's see here, the total line. Where's the total? Oh, totals. So row 13, they want row 13 to be in the total style. So in cell style, they want this to be total. Actually, this one we should probably just select the totals. Yeah, in this one we want to select the totals because otherwise it will go forevers. So we want this to be total. Row 13 should be in totals. And they want the totals to be in the accounting. So totals should be in accounting because it's a totals, except for the tax should not be. The tax should be percent. And then let's see here. What else do they want? The highest, lowest, and average. They want the row titles to be bold. So A14 to A16 to be bold. They want the numbers to be in currency style, except for the hours worked to be in comma style. So they want these guys to be in the currency. So currency, not accounting. So they want us to go in and do currency. Again, the difference between accounting and currency is that currency puts the dollar right next to the number and it floats. Like in on G15, you'll see that it has $35, and in G14, $460, whereas in G13, the dollar sign's all the way over at the edge, and then it's lined up. So that's the difference between currency and accounting. Let's see, this isn't supposed to be in accounting. This one's supposed to be in comma, right? Because hours worked isn't a dollar amount. Let's see, what else do they want us to do? I think that is it in terms of those. Questions so far? Yes.
So accounting, we do not apply to all the cells. But I see the percentage. So they have the percentage sign for all each one of them.
Yeah.
Makes sense. It makes sense to be secure.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. I could see where they might do percent on the first one and then not the rest of it, but then and then doing like numbers for number style without the percent, but yeah, whatever. It is what it is. All right. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to do the column widths. So the first thing that we want to do is they want A and B to be best fit, which means the to auto fit the width. So there are a couple of ways to do that. The easiest way to do that is to put your mouse in between A and B and double click. But another way that you can do that is you can select column A. You can go in home format and do auto fit column width. And if I were to do both A and B at the same time, that would be the only way that I could do them both at the same time. Well, I guess I could double click if I really wanted to. So they want that to be auto fit. They want the rest of them to be specific numbers. So they want E to be 10.5. And they want F to also be 10.5. And they want I. So the other way to do it is I could right click and I could go down to column width. And then I could just type in 10.5. E, F, and I are 10.5. G is 10.25. C, D, and H is 7.5. So I'll do C and D together. 7.5. And then H is 7.5. So again, this is on page 91. All of this is on page 91. Absolutely everything that we've been talking about is on page 90 and 91. I suppose if you really wanted to, you could skip through and go through on each one, pages 91 to 107. But I'd rather stay on page 91 and do it all at once. Row heights. So row 3, I select row 3, format, row height, and the row height is 48. Row 14, row height is 27, and everything else is as it is by default. Row 14 is 27, row 3 is 48. Everything else is the default. And I think that is it. All right, we have only a couple more things that I want to show you. The first thing I want to show you is that if I were to print this right now, it would stop printing right here. And it would go on to the next page with this. So there are a couple of things that I could do to fix this. One thing I could do is I could change it from portrait to landscape. Another thing that I could do is I could go into where it says no scaling, and I could force it to fit on one page. So if I wanted to keep it at portrait, I could keep it at portrait, and then I could say in no scaling, I could say fit in one page, and it would fit everything into one page. But there are a couple of other things that I want to show you. And that is that clicking on to page setup allows you to change all of the page setup settings. And in Excel, everything that you did on your margins and stuff in Microsoft Word, in Excel, you do it by going into print and then clicking onto the page setup in print. And there are a number of really cool things that you can do in here. So if you're working on something else, I want you to stop and just look up at my screen for a little bit. So again, one of the things I could do is portrait to landscape. Another thing that you can do is adjust to fit a particular percentage. Another thing you could do is you can force it to fit to a certain number of pages wide by a certain number of pages tall. So if you wanted to force everything to go down to 1 page wide by 1 page tall, or 1 page tall by 3 pages wide, or 1 page tall by 10 pages wide, or whatever you need to have it set to, this is where that's done. And by doing that, it will automatically tell you what the percentage is going to be. Now, if you happen to know what the percentage is because you do your math and you calculate that it's on an 8.5 by 11 page that it's going to be 85%, well, great. But you can also just tell it to do this and it will do the calculations for you. So that's one thing that's pretty cool about this. The other thing that's pretty cool about this is the margins. So this is how you change the margins in Excel, is that you go into print, you go into page setup, and when you're in page setup, you go into the margins. And you can change your top, bottom, left, right margins just like you can in Microsoft Word. So this one is set at 0.75 top and bottom and 0.7 left and right. Well, what if I wanted it to be 1 and 1 and 1 and 1 like it is in Word? Well, then I could do that. I could say, make this be 1 by 1 by 1 by 1. And by doing that, if I click OK, it's going to change it to 1 by 1 by 1 by 1. And if I go back to page setup, it's going to change the adjusting now to 77%, because I still told it to fit to 1 page wide by 1 page tall. Or if I change it to landscape, it will change it to landscape. And if I go to page setup, it will keep it at 100%. Now, the only problem with this is that this actually isn't centered. So if I wanted it to be centered, I can go into margins and I can tell it to center it horizontally and vertically, just like I could do in Word. You remember in Word when we made the poster and we had the poster center itself? Same thing. So in here, I could say center it horizontally, which will center it horizontally. I could set it to vertically, which will center it vertically, or I could do both, and it'll do then both. The other thing I could do is that if I go into the margins, I can put in the header and stuff. There's a little button that says options, and that will bring up then the options for the printer itself. And I could go in and I could change based on what the printer's choices are. So in this case, this printer over here has these options that may or may not be available on all machines. So it's based on, when you click onto the options button over here, that's going to be printer specific. Header and footer. This is where you put in headers and footers. So I could change the header, I could change the footer, and I could put in, I could put in text, or I could put in auto text. So the auto text is like the page number, the number of pages that are in it, the date, the time, the file name, the sheet name, the picture if I want to put in a picture, and I could format that picture. And I can make those all be either headers or footers, either left, center, or right. And then the final thing is on sheet, I can choose what do I want the print area to be. So do I want the entire spreadsheet to be the print area or just certain things to be the print area? Rows to repeat at the top, columns to repeat at the left, does exactly what it sounds like. So if I want every page to have the columns at the top Then I would choose the button that says rows to repeat at the top. And then even though it wouldn't show up on the soft version, the computer version, when I printed it, it would. It would show up on every page. Or if I have columns on the left-hand side, same thing. Grid lines, you'll notice that when it's going to be printed, I mean, I'm not printing it, but if I were to print it, there would be no grid lines. Well, if I want there to be grid lines, I take the box that says grid lines, and now there's going to be grid lines. If I want to force there to be grid lines, I could go in and I could put in a border, and that would then force the grid lines to be displayed. But I could also just tick the box that says show grid lines. Black and white means that it'll be printed as pure black and white. So if there's color in it, it'll convert to black and white. Draft quality. Row and column headings. Do I want the row and columns headings to be printed? If there are comments, if there are errors, do I want them to be displayed or not? And the page order, down and then over, or over and then down. Depends on the order in which I want the things to be printed. So the point is that there's all sorts of really cool features that you can put in to make it so that your document will be printed exactly the way that you want it to be printed. The other thing that I wanted to show you on this is that what if I just wanted the employees? I wanted to print just the employees. Well, the way that I would print just the employees is I would select just the employees, and then I would do Control P or Command P to print. And right at the moment, it looks like it's a print everything. But instead of telling it to print everything, I'm going to say only print the selection. And that would then only print the selection. And if I wanted, to make this be bigger than that, I could go in and I could say, make it be 250% or something. And it would then print just the employees. And again, if I wanted to print everything, I would print, right now I'm only selecting that, so it only select that. But if I say print everything, it'll print everything. Questions? All right, we have one last thing that they want us to do on this. Actually, two last things they want us to do. The first of the last thing is the easiest. Down here where it says sheet 1, we're going to rename this. So to rename a sheet, we just double click the sheet, and we're calling this the salary report. Another cool thing you can do with a tab is you can give it a color. So if I wanted to give it, I don't know, orange, I can make it the orange tab. Whatever, if I wanted to. The last thing that, that they want us to do is they want us to do what is known as conditional formatting. And conditional formatting is super, 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 super cool. So I'm going to show you something totally different than what they're showing you. So if you're working on something else, I want you to stop for a moment and just look up at my screen. So suppose I have a class. So I've got Bob and Fred and Nancy and Sally and Timmy and Mark. All right. And Bob has, a 60 and Fred's 55 and Nancy's pretty good. She's got like an 88 and Sally's pretty great. She's got like a 95 and Timmy's, okay. And Mark, he's got like a 20. All right. So I want to know real quickly which of my students are having problems. So one of the ways that I could do that is to use conditional formatting. And what conditional formatting does is conditional formatting allows me to change the formatting, change the color, change the background, change the style of the content based on a rule. And so I create a rule that says, if it looks like this, or rather, if the number is this, then do that. If it does this, do this other thing. So what I could do is I could select my content. I could go into conditional formatting, and I could say, highlight rules, and I could say that if it is less than, say, I don't know, less than 80, then make it red with red. So then I would look at this and I'd say, you know, Bob and Fred and Timmy and Mark need work. Sally and Nancy are okay. Everybody else, you know, we have problems. Or I could create another rule, and I could say that if they are greater than, say, 90, then they are, say, green. So then looking at this, I'd say Sally is super, Nancy's pretty good, and Bob, Fred, Timmy, and Mark have problems. And what's great about this is that, you know, Bob then studied really hard, got his grades up, and now he's at 83. And so now he goes from being red to being not. And Nancy did some more studying, and she now is at 92. Sally sloughed off and went back down to like 77. Timmy's back up to like 83, and Mark's at like 25. So, yeah, he still has problems. The point is that it will automatically change based on whatever the data tell it to be. So that's one cool thing I could do with this. Another cool thing that I could do with this, and I'll just clear all my rules, is that I could go in, conditional formatting, and they have some gradient fills. Or, you know, solid fills, if I wanted them to be solid colors. They have color scales, so that it would automatically do it based on a color scale. Directional icons. You know, how are people doing based on what their what their scores indicate, or, you know, ratings. Mark gets 1 star in the rating. Bob gets 5, as does Nancy and Sally and Timmy. The point is that that conditional formatting allows you to create a rule or a set of rules to apply to your spreadsheet to automatically color or otherwise indicate the style based on the criteria that you want to have. Where I use this all the time is I use this every semester. Every semester, I enroll people who want to take the class, and they've passed the, they didn't sign up for it in time, and so they want to have an ad code, and so I give out the ad codes. I give out ad codes. If you ask me for an ad code, I've given you the ad code, no matter what. I give out ad codes like free candy, because I'm fine with having anybody who wants to take the class, fine with me. Come and take the class. But the thing is that I also want anybody that I've given out the ad code to be able to get into Canvas right away, so that they can start day one, be able to be in it. So even though officially they're not really supposed to be in it until they've actually signed up for it, I still want them to be able to be in it and start working on it right away. So what that means is that I have a list then of all of my current students and all of the students that are in Canvas. And I have two spreadsheets, one that has the students and one that are in Canvas. And so I will use in the conditional formatting, highlight rules, duplicate values. And so what I'll do is I'll take the list of the people that are already in Canvas, the list of people that are enrolled, and I'll highlight both, and I'll say, highlight rules that are duplicate values. And everybody that's already in it is going to be, you know, red, 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 red. And the ones that aren't are going to be red, 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 nothing. And the ones that are nothing, I'll then go in and say, oh, I'll manually add you. So I'll do that like 3 times a day until class gets, you know, stabilized, and then I stop doing it because at that point I figure you're actually in it or you're not, and you know, at that point, you know. But I'll do it like literally 3-4 times a day. I'll do duplicate values and conditional format. I use this all the time. Another one I use all the time, text that contains. So if I'm looking for a particular word, I will do text that contains and see if that word is there. Same thing with equal to and stuff. If I'm looking for a particular thing, I can't say enough good things about conditional formatting. It is really, really, really great. Any questions about the concept? All right, yes. Okay, no, that's not that, no. So we're gonna go back to this guy here, because the conditional formatting that we need to do is that the company only does not want to pay overtime. So what they want to do is they want to make sure that nobody is over 80 hours. So what they want us to do is they want us to create the rule that says, where is that? Here we go. So the conditional formatting that they want us to put in is if it is greater than 70. So what they want us to do is they want us to go in on the hours worked. And they want us to check to see if any of the hours worked are greater than 70. They want us to mark it with red, because they want us to then, you know, flag their bosses and say, hey, we noticed that you gave so-and-so more than 70 hours. That means that they're getting pretty close to 80. And you know, once they hit 80, we have to pay them time and a half. We don't want to pay them time and a half. That's what the bosses are doing, because they're big jerks. So that's what we have to do, is we have to support the big jerks. And so to do that, we're going to go in conditional formatting, and we're going to do the highlight rules, and we are going to say greater than. And when they say greater than, we're going to say 70. And the color scheme that they want us to do is they want us to change this color to be a custom color. And the custom color that they want is dark red fill. And I think it was yellow. Was it yellow or white? No, it's white. It's white. White text color. Page 100 and 101. Yeah, dark red and white. So that what it will do is it will end up being that Sue Green and Peter Nichols and Sean Williams will be highlighted as red with white. And the reason that they want that is, again, so that, you know, they don't have to, you know, they don't have to pay as much and so on. So that the next pay period, you know, it would, if this got down to 60, 69, so if I change this to say like 69, then it goes away and not being red. But if it's 71.25, then it will be red. Question? Yeah, so the conditional formatting is the rule that that is currently set up is that if the cell value is greater than 70, then we make it red with white font. So again, I'll do it again over on, we'll do it over here. So again, you highlight the text that you want the conditional formatting to be on. Click on a conditional formatting, and then in this case, we want it to be if it's greater than. So we want to just say highlight rules greater than. And when we do highlight rules greater than, we want it to be greater than 70. And then instead of it being light red filled with dark red text, they want it to be custom format. And the custom format is font color of white and fill, whoa. Okay, my power just went out. All right, so ends the end of class. But it was that it was white and then red. Font color white, background color red. All right, so that's the end of the stuff that I wanted to talk about, and we will talk next time.